News Now is brought to you by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, Docomo Pacific, island-wide, worldwide, the choice is clear. From the Pacific News Center in Hagåtña, Guam, here's Clint Rigel and Janella Carrera with Betsy Brown and Roselle Romanes. PNC Sports with Blake Watson. And weather with Joanna O. With your news now.
Hafa and good evening, Guam. You're watching PNC's News Now. I'm Janella Carrera.
And I'm Clint Rigel. Thanks for tuning in. Topping your news tonight, rescue units were busy as they searched for 4 lost hikers in Pocket, and a man swept out to sea near Marble Cave. PNC's Roselle Romanes has more in tonight's top story.
The 4 hikers that were lost at Pocket overnight have been found safe and sound early this morning. Family and friends of the hikers were waiting at the entrance of the Pocket Trail for any update on the rescue mission. Once word came out that the boys were found, they were relieved. As the hikers were brought to the entrance by rescuers, they were greeted with hugs and kisses. A girlfriend of one of the hikers told PNC that the boys left their home close to 4 p.m. yesterday. However,
when I saw that it was getting late already, the time it hit 9 something, I was calling his house. He wasn't there.
Fire spokesman Lieutenant Ed Artero said that after the 911 call was received at about 8 p.m., rescue units searched for the lost boys throughout the night. Celeste said when the clock hit 11 p.m., the parents of the lost boys were frantic.
Isaiah's mom called me from Aaron's house asking me, do I know where they're at? And I said, oh, Aaron told me they're going hiking. So then she drove up here because she saw the news of the 4 hikers. So she drove up here and she saw the truck that they were driving. So then that's what made her call me. And when we came up, we found it was them that was actually the one missing.
The boys are between the ages of 13 to 16. Here's what their parents had to say.
We just wanted to go to the go, just swim. No, we're all last night. See, that's why our parents tell us where they're going and stuff.
You always have to tell where you're going.
As for the other rescue mission, GFD, the Coast Guard, and a Navy helicopter continue their search for the 24-year-old man who was swept into waters along the cliffside of Marble Cave yesterday. The 911 call of a distressed swimmer was received at about 1:30 yesterday afternoon, but the search was called off at 9 last night due to rough water conditions. The search continued after sunrise. Roselle Romanes, PNC News.
And as of news time, the search is still ongoing.
Much to the dismay of Judge Anita Sokola and especially the victim in the Crown Bakery abduction case, the sentencing for Ray Charles to Tao Camacho was once again postponed. The victim, Monique Baza, was in court and clearly frustrated with the decision.
When these things are in place, Your Honor, would the court consider a February date?
No, are you kidding?
Your Honor,
I am tired of this case, and I'm sure the victim is tired.
Judge Anita Sokola scolded both parties for the unnecessary delay in the sentencing of Ray Charles to Tao Camacho. Back in October of 2012, Camacho abducted an unsuspecting victim from the Crown Bakery parking lot, took her to a secluded jungle area, and raped her. The victim, Monique Baza, was in court today looking for some closure in the more than 2-year-old case. She was in tears to learn that her rapist's sentencing will once again be postponed. Defense attorney Doug Moylan explains why he needs more time.
we have not been served with those documents.
You mean their plea agreement?
We have never received them.
Okay, what is it again? And Mr. O'Malley, how come your office is slow? This thing has been continued and he's been asking for this information. Please tell me.
They're public record documents, Your Honor. You can just go pick them up at the clerk's
He's not going to go and pick it up.
According to the rules of court, any document filed with the clerk's office has to be served on opposing counsel. I have received no documents on the other 2 co-defendants.
Judge Sokola, bound by Guam law, expressed reluctance at delaying the sentencing. Attorney Moylan sought to have it pushed back until February.
We strongly oppose anything past January 14, Your Honor. The victim has been asking, begging for her time in court.
And I hope the victim also understands that half of the delay here is not just the defense attorney. that there are other matters too that were beyond the court's control, like the Attorney General's office,
Yes, Your Honor.
like not following through the rules of court in giving to the defense what they need.
Your Honor, on that, he's mistaken. Because everything that was filed pertaining to Mr. Camacho, he has received.
That's not the rule, Your Honor. Any document they file on that case number has to be served on all counsel.
All three defendants took plea deals, including Camacho, who pleaded guilty to first-degree criminal sexual conduct and kidnapping. Tao and his wife, Corinna Lynn Blas, pleaded guilty to charges of identity theft and fraudulent use of a credit card for receiving the victim's credit card from Camacho and racking up more than $800 in charges.
If there's anything more you'd like to add.
And Judge Sicola gave the Attorney General's office until tomorrow to serve all documents to Attorney Moylan. A hearing on the matter is scheduled for January 14th, and the final sentencing is now scheduled for January 28th of next year.
2 suspects have been arrested after the victim of a robbery recognized the clothing that they were wearing was his. The robbery to a home on Old Price Road in Manila was reported to police on December 12th. After the victim reported the robbery yesterday, police arrested 27-year-old Junior Jun and 27-year-old AJ Manaki. GPD Acting Spokesman Officer Paul Tapao says the victim reported the suspects to police and they were both apprehended shortly after. And Jainun is charged with burglary.
He's also charged with criminal mischief, theft of property, and Manaki faces charges of theft by receiving. And in other news, the woman who claimed via an affidavit that she found a cooler filled with ballots marked for the Calva Tenorio team has been arrested along with her husband. John and Catherine Pareto were both arrested this afternoon and brought to the Hagatnyar lockup. Catherine filed an affidavit under penalty of perjury, swearing that on Election Day, while at a Dedido voting precinct, she saw a cooler full of ballots that were pre-marked for the Calva Tenorio team. Catherine later rescinded her affidavit. She was charged with false statements under oath, falsifying evidence, and obstructing government functions. Her husband, John, was charged with criminal facilitation, guilt established by complicity, conspiracy, false statements under oath, unsworn falsification, falsifying evidence, and obstructing government functions.
Vice Speaker BJ Cruz is asking the Department of the Interior to reimburse Gov Guam for $300 million in Compact Impact funding or face a lawsuit. The Vice Speaker wrote to Assistant Secretary for Insular Affairs, Esther Kia Aina, after hearing that the U.S. Navy would be raising its rates for water from the Fena Reservoir by 40%. The Guam Waterworks Authority has said it will eat these charges, but Vice Speaker Cruz believes this is wrong, especially when the federal government owes Guam money for Compact Impact reimbursements. Some, like Senator-elect Frank Blosh Jr., have said that the U.S. federal government owes Gov Guam over $1 billion in Compact Impact reimbursements. Cruz pointed out in his letter that in the 2011 NDAA, there was a provision that would have allowed the federal government to consider giving Fena Lake to Gov Guam in lieu of the $300 million owed for Compact Impact reimbursements.
Let's get that as part of the GWA. We won't have to be paying this major increase in water rates, and it'll save us money. We'll have a consolidated system. It'll be the better thing for the entire island. And so I thought, well, let me pen a letter to her and suggest that this might be one way that we can do it. I mean, the Navy keeps talking about one Guam, but we don't have one Guam. We have 2 very disparate Guams.
And Vice Speaker Cruz says that if nothing is done, he'll work with his colleagues to authorize funds and file a federal lawsuit compelling the full payment of compact costs already acknowledged by federal law.
And it was a busy weekend with sports. Let's check in with Polly Suba to find out what's next.
Whoa, it's been a very busy weekend full of championship hardware. See which teams get to take some home later on in sports with me, Paulie Suba.